session, and this is one important question, right? So first of all, we started once again because whether you people are following it or not, I thought people are focusing about this thing. This is a first unit is of course some little. The total syllabus is not a what can I say? It's a small topic only. There will not be much problems are not mentioned. So within no time we can finish the syllabus, and just I'm trying to go little slowly. Okay. So this is what introduction of algorithm importance, fundamentals of analysis, problem efficiency. This is what the area we are. Once it is over, then we will go with the time complexity, asymptotic notation. Once this part is over, the unit one will be over. Okay. So this is what very important. What is the definition of algorithm? Please remember, an algorithm is a finite set of instruction that if followed accomplishes a particular task, and these are the characteristics you need to be remember the characteristics. And next, what is a how algorithms are effective? Okay, what are the computational procedures? Some additional information for that, and what we do with algorithms, areas of research, how we can devise, how to validate, how to analyze, how to test. These are all the challenge. Up to here, we'll be getting one particular question, and this is another. This 9 steps is very important question, and a compulsory question for essay for even 15 marks also. Explain the different problem solving techniques using algorithms, or explain the fundamental algorithm problem solving techniques. And we have discussed already up to what can I say, proving algorithm correctness. I think methods of specifying algorithm. These steps we come across already. What is understanding problem? Okay, this already we have come across with data structure. We need to select what are the sets of specifying algorithm, what is a pseudocode, and what is a flow chart. Okay, so this part we have already covered, and this is okay. I think specifying algorithm, like in the last class we have discussed about. Right, I guess proving algorithm correctness is this part, deciding appropriate data structure. Okay, and this is what the flow chart, pseudocode flow chart part. I think we come across that one. Okay, let me make a little big. Can you see the screen? Yeah. So proving algorithm correctness and this thing. Okay. So any challenges are there in between? I'll come back to you. And whenever I ask a question, you please post answer. Let me make maximize the screen. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think is it visible to you? Yeah. So this is what can I say? Now everybody. I hope everybody can see the screen. The screen is visible to you. Yeah. Okay. So this is how to prove the algorithm correctness. In the previous slide, this is what methods of specifying algorithm. In the last class, we have discussed the pseudocode and the flowchart. I just shown how pseudocode will looks like. Anyway, we are going to write the pseudocode, the algorithm for so many problems. And flowchart already we have discussed. And proving algorithm correctness, how to cross check it whether this algorithm is correct or not. Okay, how you will cross check it. So this also we have, I think we covered using the mathematical induction method. I think, do you remember it or not? For some examples also I have mentioned for some of the first natural numbers and some of the first square natural numbers, some of the first cube number. This 1 cube plus 2 cube dash plus n cube is equal to sigma n cube, which is n square plus n plus 1 whole square by 4. Like that expressions we come across in your 10 plus 1 level or intermediate first year. Okay, so there you come across about how to what we can say check it out about the algorithm using mathematical induction. The similar way now for every algorithm, okay, we are going to learn about program step. Program step is nothing but a statement in your algorithm or a statement in your program which will be executed by the processor is said to be program step. Please remember those lines may not be available on the screen, and that may be covered somewhere. Okay, but please take the pen and paper and try to record some terms which are not covered in the slide. What I'm saying that first of all you will write the algorithm in the pseudocode fashion. The pseudocode fashion means that I just mentioned the model. Example, if you can look at, I'll show some. Okay, but you can see one example. Algorithm to find the maximum of n numbers. This is what the pseudocode fashion. This is the pseudocode fashion. How you will write the algorithm for this. Okay. So this is what algorithm. This is a result word you will write. one character is the name of the algorithm. This is what is the kind of data structure you are using. Here I'm using arrays data. The size of the this particular data structure is 9. These were the standard notation how you'll write about this. These rules we are going to learn. Okay, need not worry. This is a comment which will not execute with the processor. Result is equal to f1. So this is a statement which will be executed with the processor. So this is counted as one particular step. Similarly, if a of I is greater than result, the result will be this thing. So checking this condition, this for statement, true to n. True to n means what? Except one, rest of the n means what? This step will be executed for n minus 1 times. For each n minus 1 times, it will check this condition. So this statement will also execute times. And this is what finally, if any such a case is there, the result will be updated. Okay. Finally, return result, this will execute only once. Right. So based on the how many times so that each step will execute, we'll try to prepare an expression. The expression will be in the form of 2n plus 3 or 2n plus 4 or n square plus 3 or n square plus n. How you will get that n square 2n plus 3, we are going to learn in not worry. So once we got at that expression is said to be f of n. F of n is equal, for example, for one algorithm, we have total number of steps will become 2n plus 3. So f of n is equal to n plus 3. So if that expression, okay, you need to verify its induction mechanism inside one number of steps is okay. If n is equal to k, number of steps is okay. If n is equal to k plus 1, is number of steps is okay. That we will verify. If it is true for all these cases, then we can say by the principle of mathematical induction for all positive integer values of n, the given statement is correct. This is what the way you will mathematical induction back. Okay. So to prove the algorithm correctness, okay, we can go with mathematical induction method, right? So you have to prove that algorithm yields a required result for every legitimate input, that's a valid input, in a finite amount of time. A common technique for proving correctness is to use the mathematical induction because an algorithm's iterations provide a natural sequence needed for such proofs. So using mathematical induction, we can prove. That's one method. To show an algorithm is incorrect, you need to just one instance of its input for which the algorithm fails. This already I have discussed. Means what? To say your algorithm is not working fine, means that your algorithm is not correct, for example, or you want to prove that statement is, go back to again the methods of disproof which you come across in discrete mathematics. That is, if we can have one example which state that the given statement is wrong, and that example is said to be counter example. So using one case with one input, if for any input, for one particular input, if you say that algorithm is not working correctly, then algorithm is wrong. That's algorithm is incorrect. Okay. So this is one thing. And next, for an approximation algorithm, we usually would like to be able to show that the error produced by algorithm does not exceed predefined limit. Already I said the algorithms are classified into the two cases. Like the problems are classified, not algorithms. Problems are for the exact problem and followed by what you can say approximate problem. That's what a problem which can generate the result exactly. That's called exact problem. The problem which can be generate approximate, which is close to the exact value, that's called approximate value. So already we come across what do you mean by exact problem, what does mean by exact solution, what is approximate solution. For approximate solution, because the solution may not be accurate, some delta x will be that error we will take. The error will be in terms of 10 power minus 12 to 10 power minus 16 to 10 power minus 12. So that's what the error value. Such a close error value is there that can be accepted. This is how we will verify about the algorithm. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the next area, very, very important area. This is what another question. Okay, third area from this unit, analyzing an algorithm. How you will analyze the algorithm? So there are two ways of verifying algorithm efficiency. One is called time efficiency, one is called space efficiency. So what is the time efficiency? Time efficiency indicates how fast the algorithm runs. Don't get confusion. How much time it will take to run. Okay, so that is called time efficiency. That's already said to be time complexity also. Time efficiency, time complexity, both are the same. Okay, what it represents? How fast algorithm runs. See, for example, I'll give a simple. This is very, very important parameter, and there is a lot of what can I say serious impact on this. And there is one particular situation when this ATM cards are introduced. Okay, so there is one bank called ICICI Bank. There is another called bank SBI Bank, and both have adopted the different software package, and they have taken the different programs to verify the ATM card. So at the moment any person will swipe the ATM card on the ATM machine, first he has to verify the card is correct, genuine. Second is the pin is correct. So third is it has to give the options. Fourth, it has to draw the money. Fifth, it should exit from the ATM machine. This is what the set step of operation to be performed. So one bank has approached a lengthy program, okay, so that the customer should supposed to wait about some 10 to 15 minutes to complete his transaction. Whereas other bank has taken very few minutes, about some 3 minutes, he can come out of the ATM. Okay, so this is what the scenario. So in one particular junction, there is one SBI ATM is there is one ICICI Bank ATM is there. Both the customers, there is a very big queue because number of ATMs are very less in initial days. Okay, they are not bank is enabled in establish more number of ATMs. Therefore, whichever the ATM you go, there will be very good queue will be available, especially in the weekends like Saturdays. Okay, you may find very big queue. So then if you look at about the how many people are moving, that's what transaction time. So ICICI Bank ATM is generating very much fast. So within no time, even 10 to 20 candidates are leaving from ATM with successful operation. Whereas other side is SBI ATM is consuming lot of time, and so many people keep on waiting for half an hour, even 1 hour also. Okay, so they lose that because they are clearly observing that the other bank ATM is working fast than this bank. So I think it's not better to continue the account with SBI. So people are migrated from SBI to ICICI. So much business have been shifted from SBI to ICICI because it's a government bank. People will not focus much on that. But if it is a private bank, definitely people will focus much on that. So eventually SBI people are understand that how many candidates are migrated to other banks, then they have realized, then they have improved the second version, third version, fourth version. What is the theme I want to conclude it here? Both algorithms and the both programs are working the same, but the program which is executed at ICICI ATM is taking the very less time for execution, whereas other program is running at SBI is consuming more time. Because of that, several lakhs of rupees or crores of rupees turnover has been moved from one bank to another bank. This is one example why we have to focus much on time. The second important thing, for example, I have to write a program, I have to prepare a software which can be automatically control a nuclear reactor, no? Nuclear reactor, so which can generate the nuclear power. You are already you know that reaction, that is 92 U 235 plus 0 N1 gives barium krypton plus 235 what you can say 935 mega electrovolts. Okay, and leaves three more neutrons. So the chain reaction will start, and this reaction will take 1 millisecond. If you don't control the reaction for about what you can say 1000 seconds, 1000 milliseconds is nothing but 1 second. Okay, if you are unable to control the reaction for about 1 second, the power generated will be 3 power 999 into 931, which is a very big explosion. So at any cost, see, please understand the situation. We have to depend upon nuclear power, but the reaction takes a millisecond time. So no manpower is able to control all the time exactly accurately for the millisecond time. So that will be controlled by machinery. Machinery will controlled by computers. These computers will be operated through satellite. Okay, which we are very far from the location. We will try to operate from here. So there, your system should supposed to execute within operation will take millisecond. So we are written the program to execute in 10 power minus 9. Means that almost 10 power 6 times or 10 power 9 times or 10 power 12 times faster algorithms we are prepared. Therefore, this program will execute very fast than the reaction. So automatically it will have its own buffer time. Even it is failed, alternate programs will work out, and it will see that that explosion will not take place. You understand what I'm saying? There, the very important thing is time complexity. So now you need to focus now, because at the basic level, see in the school days, we cannot, at the beginning itself, we cannot make a very good handwriting. You might have come across in your school days. People used to write with a pencil and notebook. So eventually, after getting very good grip with the pencil handwriting, and we are people are shifted towards writing with pen. You just remember in school days. School days, you might have practice on one particular sheets or slate, preferably, and after that pencil, and after that pen. Okay, eventually your handwriting, once your handwriting is improved, you came with the pen handwriting. You come across on it. Similarly, if I say that in the day one LKG, write good handwriting, that will not work out. Similarly, here also, why we are learning this subject in fifth semester? Because to start with the programming, As you are not very new to the program, if I say this is not expert way, this is not expert way, you are unable to get, you are unable to start the first step. So whatever the steps, let first step should go in whatever the way. Then eventually, once you know walking, then we will say that how to stand properly, how to run properly. Telling them is very easy. But a person is unable to stand properly. If you say them how to run, then there is no question of success. Similarly here also. So all these 4 semesters you learn about how to do programming. Now you are applying analysis on your programming. So what is the time complexity for my program? How much runtime this program is consuming? Can I make alternate versions of the same program using other techniques? And what is my objective? Can I make it with a very less time for execution? That is very, very important. Always now onwards, you please focus that what is the execution time for my program. And if you are able to develop always the best program means what? The execution time is minimized, then automatically you don't find difficulty to prepare the program for a large programs. Hope you understand what is the impact of time efficiency. Time efficiency is nothing but how much time it will take, your algorithm will take to run. The second case is called space efficiency. What is the space efficiency? Okay, the space efficiency indicates how much extra memory the algorithm need. Extra memory, please don't get confusion. Extra memory is nothing but like you may what I can say. I think you can. Okay, I think the time is coming to the close, I guess. So, are you clear about what is the impact of time efficiency? Because I need to have some in between some records. Your responses should be recorded. That's the reason, because all this chart, this information will be submitted to university as an evidence that you people are present for the class and things are conducted and the record and everything will be submitted. So your frequent replace. So are you clear about what is the impact of time efficiency? Don't write clear, please mention at least time efficiency is clear so that that word should be different. Okay, if somebody is observing this chart, other things, so they should understand the queries are different and people are really listening and following it. Let us not make any manipulations it here. Good job. Right. And now I'm just moving on in between. If it is session is out also, no problem. I'll try to finish it. The space efficiency is nothing but, see, in the beginning of some days, you may remember it or not. Okay, uh, we have paid huge money for memory, because if you go with the first generation, second generation, third generation computers, if you look at about old generation computers, there we don't get what you are getting now, gigabytes of memory with a new technology. Even 2 GB, 4 GB, 16 GB is coming with a small chip also. Now with the technologies, no, technology is in such a way that you are able to get more GB. But initial days, if you look at about Pentium system and before systems, the memory size will be very less. We used to get about some, what you can say, the 1 MB is great. So many years we work with 16 MB, 32 MB. Imagine 32 MB RAM will be there. For 32 MB RAM, we used to spend more than 8 to 10,000 rupees in those days. That's a technology in those days. It's just discussing somewhere about 90s. Okay, during 90s, we used to spend good money for 32 MB RAM. Highest size is 32 MB RAM. Okay, the desktop PC costing somewhere about 97,000 to 1,20,000 with all your. We'll be using CRT monitor. Okay, and we'll be using a disk operating system, and eventually we got Windows 3.1. That those days, because of the technology, we need to invest more money. But now the space complexity, we are not focusing much right now. Why? Because due to the upgradation of technology or innovation of technology, so we are used to get very good RAM capacity. Right, random access memory, we used to get very good RAM capacity. Therefore, we are not focusing much on space efficiency. But what exactly space efficiency? What is the space complexity? Space complexity means that how much extra memory is required to complete your what say execution of the program. That's what space complexity. For example, my program will take some 2 KB or 4 KB space. Okay, assume that while running this particular program, I may require to supply some input value. Say for example, I want to start 100 numbers. Understand the question. So when I run this program, first of all, it will ask what is the n value, how many numbers you want to start. N is equal to, I'll enter n is equal to 100. This 100 must be stored somewhere in the RAM, some location in the RAM. Next, all 100 numbers I'm keep on loading from console. So all these 100 numbers must be stored in 100 different locations in the RAM. Okay, next time I use some temporary variables, like in the previous algorithm we observed some result, we observed so many temporary variables we used to calculate for the sake of comparison, for the sake of calculation. For that variables to store the values also additional memory is required. Okay, I'm executing the for loop every time. That I value will be keep on incrementing. To store that I updated value of I required one location. And if I do another variable, if I'm using j, for that also I'm using additional memory is required. So for example, if n is n value, to write n value and to write only this 100 values, if I required one add one. You understand what I'm saying? So the program, when you run this program, additional this one add one locations along with one some other 100 locations you require. So total somewhere about 200 locations. If each location is, for example, 1 KB, for example, so 200 locations will require additionally 200 KB space required. Assume that in your computer you don't have 200 KB space. Then what happened? You understand the problem? Just assume now you don't have that situation, but earlier we have such a situation. You can store only the program only, and you have the values you can store only for n is equal 10 only you can store, or n is equal 5 only you can store, and your memory is capable of storing only that much value, because all these values are required till end. Like, you cannot overwrite on some other value. Okay, that's the situation. So in that scenario, if you want to run n is equal 100, what happens? It will give an error message. OS will give an error message stating that insufficient memory space, or runtime linker error, or runtime loading error. You will get this will be supplied by operating system. So their space also a very big problem. Therefore, earlier days the programmers, when they are looking to develop the program, first of all they will try to look at the kind of hardware they have. So in that hardware, what is the memory size is available, and how much part will go for operating system, how much leftover memory is there. Is this memory will be sufficient for my program? They will try to calculate mathematically on the paper, then confirming that yes, this hardware may be sufficient for me, then they will start executing the program. So this is how from those days now we came to the easy days. Okay, the space efficiencies indicates how much extra memory that algorithm needs. Okay, and another desirable characteristics algorithm simplicity. Just I'm discussing about what are the ways of analyzing algorithm. One is time efficiency and one is space efficiency. So next one is simplicity. What is the simplicity? Simpler algorithms are easier to understand and easier to program. Consequently, the resulting program usually contain fewer bugs. Some people write the program easily. That is, every step is a basic step. What do you mean by basic step? If the number of operations involved in the steps will be minimum, will be one or two, then automatically that operation is a basic step. That operation is a basic operation. Okay. So you are making all the instruction very simple. Means that easy to understand, easy to implement. There is no ambiguity in each instruction. Then that algorithm is said to be simpler algorithm. So simpler algorithm, if anybody will see that algorithm, they can easily they can easily develop the program, and automatically, because it's every instruction is very clear, they may not make any mistakes, so bugs will be minimum. Okay, so it's very easy to write. Okay, so there is a third parameter. What are the ways of analyzing the program, analyzing algorithm? One is about time efficiency, second space efficiency, third one simplicity. Is it whether your algorithm is simple or not? Okay, fourth reason is said to be another desirable characteristic and generality. Generality, what is generality? Generality, the word generalization, we used to this word for generalization. What is the generalization? Let us suppose I have written a particular, I just using substitution method. Okay, I think this is what I want to take the example from your recurrence relations, which we come across in discrete mathematical structures. We will develop an expression using recurrence relation by substitution method. Substitution method means that first of all the sum is equal to is one is given. Second letter is seems to be, second letter is the sum of the 1 plus 2. Third letter is sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3. Fourth letter is sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3. Fourth letter is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. Fifth letter T5, term 5 is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Like that you have a sequence. And if you keep on analyzing the sequence, finally the nth term Tn is nothing but sigma n. This will be the nth term. You understand? So how we are going to develop the 10th term, and that sequence we are developed, that's what the basically substitution method. So what is the mechanism? What is that one? For a fewer numbers, for n is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4, are verifying with some 4 or 5 levels substitution method, we will try to develop the nth term. So having a limited observation, while observing with a limited number of resources, limited number of numbers. If you are able to develop an expression which is common to all the terms, then that is called generalization. Means what? I just verified T1, term 1 I just verified in the sequence, term 2 I verified in the sequence, term 3 also I verified in the sequence, term 4 also I verified in the sequence. Then basically I just observed about 4 terms, and based on that observation directly I'm writing Tn. The Tn is equal to this is what the nth term, this is what the expression for that. So what I'm trying to say, observing 4 terms, I'm able to develop the expression for nth term. So this kind of mechanism is said to be generalization. Means that I have written the sorting algorithm and it is working for n is equal 10 numbers, n is equal 20 numbers, n is equal 30 numbers, n is equal 100 numbers. After confirming up to 100 numbers, I'm writing even n is equal 10,000, 1 lakh, 1 crore, 10 crores, and 30 crores, and 1 trillion also. This algorithm will work effectively. Okay, so this kind of concept is said to be generality. So are we able to written algorithm which can generalize? Means that we don't have the control of n value. N maybe you can take, if I write the starting algorithm, you may give n is equal 100. I may give n is equal to 1 lakh. Somebody will give n is equal to 1 trillion. Whatever the n value, the program, that algorithm should supposed to work. If it is able to work, then we can say that algorithm satisfies the parameter characteristic as generality characteristic is satisfied. So here it is, there are two issues with generality. Generality of the problem, the algorithm solves and range the inputs it accepts. What are the range of inputs are that it should be accepted. Sometimes it is easier to design an algorithm for such a proposed general terms, but sometimes it is very difficult because it cannot work out. Okay, this is about what you can say about your efficiency. How to, what is, how you will analyze the algorithm? Are you clear about analyzing algorithms? What are the how you will analyze? Time efficiency, space efficiency, simplicity, and generality. Okay, these are the 4 parameters we come across. And respond fast is analyzing algorithm is clear to you. Analyzing algorithm is clear to you. What you people can look at is like you can keep the keyboard ready with you, and what is the heading I'm just preparing, you keep the information ready, and your answer only yes or no, only that term followed by clear. Okay, and just whenever I ask you just press enter. Within less time that will be recorded. Okay, and next tomorrow class we are going to learn about how to write the coding the algorithm, right? So coding algorithm steps specification, this is very very important, and we should not miss now onwards, because if you miss it, writing algorithm is very serious problem. Now it is looking very easily, but we have to work out so many in-depth complex